Hey, 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 what's up, everybody? This here is Ace Michaels, your main man on the scene in living color. And it's the Ace Michaels Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for sharing and liking. By the way, that means a lot to me that you guys over the years have supported the show, that you've been outspoken in saying, like, hey, you know what? I think this dude is worth supporting and following. That means a lot to me. You don't have to do that. Don't stop. Okay, but you don't have to do it, and I recognize that. Today, I want to talk about something that's on my mind about dun dun dun. Why? And if you can answer this question, I will give you really nothing because we don't have a budget to give you anything, but I will say thanks. Why does bad news travel so fast? Now, before you answer, think about it. Think about what I'm asking you. Why does bad news travel so fast? And when I say that, I mean, obviously, we can't gauge the speed of how fast or how quickly news gets to people. But like on the internet, what they do is they'll say, like a headline will say, woman sleeps with a monkey, right? And then you got to read the article or you got to watch the video to find out that what they meant was like monkey business or monkey flavored M&Ms or something that didn't really mean the bad thing that you thought it meant, but they got you, right? They got you. And they got you because they know that bad news travel fast. Bad news is what we're interested in. We don't want to hear about happy marriages. We want to read about divorces. We want to hear about cheating. We want to hear about lying and scandals and controversy. But why? Is that just human nature? Is that who we are as people? Do you think that 4,500 years ago, people were sitting around a rock quarry going, hey, man, I don't know. They didn't talk like that back then. So that was the problem with my analogy. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. If you have a thought, an opinion, conjecture, belief, I want to know, why is it that bad news travels so quickly? You go to work, somebody goes, Jimmy got fired. Oh, I didn't even know Jimmy. But now that I know he's fired, tell me why. Anyway, today we have a special guest on the show today. Joyce is an architect working here in the Las Vegas area, probably all over the world. She probably doesn't just work in Las Vegas, but she'll tell us whether or not that's true. But Joyce, welcome to the Ace Michael Show, baby.
Hey, hey, Ace.
Hey,
Happy New Year.
Joyce. Thank you so much. I always appreciate if anybody tells me happy anything. They can even wish me happy Chinese New Year, and I'll be like, dude, I don't even know what that's all about, but thank you. You know what I mean? I'll take it. It's free, right? I'll take it. So, Joyce, I didn't struggle with your last name because I didn't want to butcher it. So I'm going to let
Oh,
you do that part, and then I'm going to try my best to say it right a couple times after after I say
n-
it.
not a problem. It's Orias, and I'm used to getting it butchered, so I really make
Right.
an attempt whenever anybody else has an unusual name, I really make an attempt. Might not always be successful, but I really try to say it right because I know how it is. And you develop
Right.
a good sense of humor. I've been called Oreo, I've been called Ovaltine,
Are
I've been
you?
called all kinds of bizarro. Anything that began with an O, it was like that was my name, and I'm thinking, okay,
So
all right.
now I don't know if you know this or not, but there was I think she was kind of sexy serial killer. She wasn't a serial killer. She just killed her boyfriend. She just killed one person.
Oh,
Um, Joyce, not Joyce, Jody, and they used to call Jody Arias was the way that I heard
oh.
it, but she had the same last name as you. You know about this sexy
Right.
killer lady?
I do not, but now that you say bad news
What?
travels fast, I'm going to have to look it up. No, my name is spelt with an O, not an A.
Oh, so it's similar but not the same. Yeah,
Similar, not the same.
she was,
Yeah.
and she was a brunette too. What does that say about you
Oh,
brunettes? Yeah,
uh-oh,
yeah,
danger,
something.
danger.
And she wore glasses.
Oh,
Holy smokes! What?
sometimes I do too.
Where were you on the night of? No, I'm
Oh,
playing.
no,
As a matter of
no.
fact, I've never seen you two in the same room together either, like Superman and Clark Kent. What's really going on here? What
Oh
in
my
the
God,
world?
I am gonna have to look her up now.
Yeah, Jody Arias with an A.
Okay.
Arias. Jody Arias. I thought she was very pretty. She reminds me of the really beautiful actress. Shoot, I can't think of her name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. The girl that played in the Fantastic Four. She's really, really something. Like she's one of the hot
Mm.
girls that they always talk about. She had a TV show for a while. She was in the Fantastic Four. She married a guy. She's now a billionaire actress, actually.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's really famous. I just can't think of her name right this second. I'm gonna have to Google that thing because I gotta make my point and tell you who this girl is that she looks like because this
Okay.
girl is so famous. Oh shoot, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway,
Well,
she's really, really gorgeous. This actress. Anyway,
well,
not
that's who I trade places with. I wouldn't want to trade places with the serial killer in jail probably now, but oh,
well. You look like this girl too. You look like both of them.
oh, don't do that.
No, it's true. Like I was surprised that no one ever said that to you. Hold on. This girl is oh my goodness gracious, it's on the tip of my tongue. You know this girl. Not Jessica Alba.
Oh, Jessica Al. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, baby.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank, thank you for that. Wow, I didn't know I'd get a compliment
do you
this podcast. That's
did you
great.
get that? Don't people stop you on the street and go, "Hey, are you Jessica Alba?" They don't do that?
I haven't heard that, but I'll take it.
You know
Sure.
what? They probably say it behind your back.
Oh.
When you're not in the room, that's what. As soon as you leave the room, they're like, you know, she looks like Jessica Alba, right? You know that, right? Yeah, what was
Yeah, well.
that? just,
Uh,
just like me, when I leave the room, they're like, you know, he's handsome and rich, right? You know that, right? You know that, right?
of course they
Don't
say
tell
that.
him. Don't tell him,
Gosh.
but you know that. Yeah. Even if his bank account doesn't reflect it, he still is. You know that, right? Exactly.
That's so cute.
So so okay, so let's talk about what you got going on. This is show is about you. This ain't about Jessica Alba for crying out loud. Um so I was on this thing the other day, another show I was talking about AI. Oh my gosh, are we ever going
Oh
to
my
stop
God.
talking about AI?
Yeah.
Woo! This thing is something else. So people are concerned that they're going to lose their jobs. I laughed at it. Last year, I laughed at it. I actually did a show where we talked about it with a professional, and I laughed about it. And I said, come on, man. AI is not going to take your job from you. Like, that would be like saying Photoshop is going to take your job. Photoshop didn't take people's jobs. Well, not yet. But
Mm,
AI moves a lot faster than Photoshop, and AI is a much more developed tool than something like Photoshop. And as a person who does video editing, photography, music production, video production, I have to admit, AI hasn't taken my job yet, but it's become very challenging. AI is the biggest competitor that I have already in my workflow. What are your
yeah.
thoughts on it, Joyce? Like you work in a different industry than mine. I mean, what do you encounter as far as the AI spectrum is concerned?
Well, that's such a compelling question because, growing up and the years that I've been in design, it was always kind of like, well, people can replace things, but they can't replace good design.
Right.
And, and
So they
now
thought.
look at what is going on.
Right.
So what I will say in current time, and this is just current time because AI is developing quickly. What I've seen when people put in an AI concept and have it come out, it looks kind of bizarre and weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy with six fingers, and
Right.
the cabinet that has the drawers going the wrong way or this and that.
Right.
But that is an evolution, and it can only get better. And the quality of the renderings are quite good. So that is kind of frightening. However, I don't see it happening yet. How near the future is, I do not know.
Mm-hmm.
I really compel everyone, especially younger designers, to really think. Don't let the computer think for you, because that's when you lose. Right now, everybody's got an edge because they've got a brain, and a
Mm.
pretty spectacular brain. But when you get lazy and you let other things do your work for you,
Mm-hmm.
that is when it's like having a muscle you don't use. You're going to lose it. So that's the best advice I can give right now, especially to the up and comers that are wanting to make their mark in this industry. Um, don't let the computer do everything for you. Think, and also have some ethics behind it, because that's what I think is going to be lost the first, is ethical values. And that's just something I've been seeing happening and eroding over and over again. And we've
Mm-hmm.
got to bring that back. We really do.
Now I agree with you, but I want to throw something at you. I'm gonna challenge you a minute. So I was watching a podcast the other day that was about the design of fast food restaurants. I know this is crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but it will make
Mm-hmm.
sense, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so if you look back in the 80s and the early 90s, a Kentucky Fried Chicken, for example, had a specific design. A Pizza Hut had a specific design. A
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's had a specific design. And as these corporations have taken over more control of these real estate properties, which is what they basically are. They've
Mm-hmm.
now, when you drive down the street, you see a Kentucky Fried Chicken, a Pizza Hut, a KFC. They all look the same. They're basically a cookie cutter
Mm-hmm.
gray square box with a logo. And
Mm-hmm.
inside, the design is the same. They're not unique and different. Like Taco Bell used to be a really cool place to go because it actually looked like a Spanish hacienda building, and it was different than
Mm-hmm.
other places. But now Taco Bell is literally just a logo on the side of any flat face building. So
Mm-hmm.
this was before AI. This was the work of humans making things bland. And you drive down the street in a community, especially in Las Vegas, everything is brown or a shade of brown or tan, or maybe they go really abstract and it's kind of yellow, but it's still not very creative. But this was before AI. This is something humans did to ourselves. What are your
Okay.
thoughts on that?
And I completely agree with you. And here's the part that is factored in. It's a money aspect. The cheaper and easier and boilerplate they can make it,
Hmm.
then the easier it is to build, the cheaper it is to build, and all they do is slap a logo on top of it, just as you said. You're so observant that way. I think that things that are on an economical scale, like fast foods,
Hmm.
is probably going to keep going in that direction, because the cheaper the better. It's all about the numbers, right? For um, that type of building. Now, what I will say in defense, and I hope this lasts for a long, long time, is that creative industries will keep needing creative human brains. And by what that I mean, the industries that I'm in. I used to work in theme parks, so I
Oh,
used to
wow.
work at Disney. They're always going to need some creative thinkers. And at Disney, we called it blue skying, because basically we just grabbed the design from the clear blue sky and brought it down.
Hmm.
And I think that AI is not going to easily compete with the human mind. Now, that said, things that are repetitive, AI can do quite well. I mean, the computer aided design is what makes things happen easier, because they repeat things. The computer is excellent at repeating things and to an exact scale.
Hmm.
But things that are concept driven, like theme parks, like casinos, because I evolved into casino work when I moved to Vegas, which was
Hmm.
a little bizarre story. But yeah, my first job was New York, New York, over here in town.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, I'm
Wow.
dating myself, but that looks pretty theme parky, doesn't it?
It does, but you know what? Isn't that a marvel of architecture? And that's one thing that I want to discuss. I want to at least touch on this. I was always under the impression, anyway, that architecture is kind of like art for construction. Like like music is art for the ears and films are art for the eyes. Okay, I know those
Mm.
are generalizations, but you get where I'm going with it. I
Oh,
was
absolutely.
always under the impression that being an architect was like being a fine artist, like a painter, a Picasso, if you will, but in the world of making this be a structured thing. So, to answer to your point, do we need creative people anymore? I mean, if we're just going to make block buildings on our own, this was again before AI came along. Humans were already making things bland and stucco and cookie cutter. Why did we do that to ourselves?
Again, economies of building, because building's expensive to begin with. The more intricate the design, the more expensive the building. So that's why I kind of maintain my stance that if it's a theme park, if it's a casino, if it's in the hospitality industry, those thrive on being unique and different. So you're
Hmm.
always going to have creativity there, and that's not going to readily come out of a machine. So
Right.
the things that are cheap and easy and to scale, like fast food restaurants, they're probably going to keep going in that same direction and just have a splashy logo on top.
Right.
So there's going to be both. I think there's room for both. I think there has to be room for both because otherwise your hamburger is going to cost a lot more than it does now.
Okay, so that's a great point you bring up. So it would affect the cost, right? To
Mm,
make these designs, it's going to affect the cost. Now I'm going to throw a devil's advocate at you.
okay.
Okay, so back in the 1200s, we didn't have the same cost ratio that we have today. So why are those uh, structures so gorgeous and they're still standing and they're, castles and, monuments and all of these things that didn't cost anything. They didn't have the same dollar ratio that we have today. So why are they so gorgeous and the stuff that we make today is so not?
Okay, so my answer to that is you're only looking at buildings that were commissioned by pharaohs and kings and extremely wealthy merchants and those kinds of people.
Well,
Are
I'm
you
I'm a
seeing?
pharaoh. I'm a king.
Yes, you are, but
Okay. Well,
you have that pocketbook. And so here's my counter to that is that you don't see any of the mud huts that the workers lived in. Do you see that anymore? They're not standing anymore.
mm,
You don't
okay.
see
Okay.
grass kind of shacks that the laborers and the farmers lived in. You don't see that anymore. You only see these monumental things that were commissioned by highfalutin people, and those were the ones that lasted. So,
Right.
there we go. That's my angle to that.
Well, that's a good point that you bring up. Okay, so I could argue that we are still living in mud huts.
Hmm.
Um, take these. We're still living in mud huts, kind of like there are slums in every major city. We have a homeless population, right? Which
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
ask you about how we could counteract that with the world of architecture. Can't we build some type of structure that is cost effective enough for us not to have people living on the streets? But before we get to that, I'm still
Mhm.
curious about the AI generation. So if AI is so wonderful and so perfect, can't we make an AI that could create I mean we can create fantasy things, we can create dragons with AI. Why can't we create luxurious, exotic, cool looking buildings? Does it still come back down to money? And if it does come down to money, we're living in a generation now where, my God, so many people are billionaires. That's all we hear about is the billions and the trillions. We don't even hear about millions anymore. Everybody's got billions.
Well, not everybody, but yeah, there's definitely
Most people I want to know have billions, Joyce.
right, but that's still the 1%. You know that. There's still the 98% of us that are, I won't say it's mud huts, but it is tract homes. And will they last another 130, 40, 50 years? Maybe not.
Hmm.
But do they really need to is the other question. The your compelling insight about how do we take care of the homeless is there's a lot of, and I'm sure you've heard of it right now, is there's a lot of work going on with tiny homes, you know,
Yes,
like
yes.
400 square foot little modular buildings to go that go out and easy to build and easy to
I love
uh,
tiny homes, by the way.
yeah,
I
and
think it's a
you
great
know,
concept.
so that's something that is it's developing now, and it's starting to gain a foothold. A lot of people are realizing we don't need a lot of stuff. Why do we need big homes to have more stuff? What are we going to do with that stuff when we die? You know?
I agree. 300% agree. And I've never been one to want to live in a mobile home, but they're starting to look so gorgeous these
They're
days. Like they really put a lot of work into these mobile homes. And I was
they,
looking at one the other day. I was like, I don't know. I do like to travel.
and well, you know what? I never say never. I have an Airstream. Now, I love that thing. Am I traveling a lot in it? No, I wish I were, but
Hmm.
it's so well designed, and when you pull it, it doesn't feel like there's anything behind you. And it's,
Wow.
you know, if things are designed properly, then they're built to last. And so, and that's, I don't know how many square feet, maybe 100 square feet.
Right. But okay, and so now see you perfectly segue. See, you should be a co-host. You
Oh,
perfectly segued into the next topic, which is 100 square feet. Can a
mhm.
family live in 100 square feet? Sure, they could, right? Instead of under a bridge. Why can't we? No, no. Let me rephrase the question. Not why can't we, because that sounds like challenging. I'm not challenging you. I'm just inquiring. Could we create affordable housing so that most in our society would have a place to live?
The answer is yes, of course we can. But then it goes back to that question of ethics. We've got to develop ethics. We've got to develop compassion again. And
Hmm.
we used to, most of us still do, but it's just not a popular thing to talk about lately. But if we cared about each other, which we do, but we're just not talking about it,
Hmm.
we can make all of that happen. Does a billionaire have to have $1 billion? No. Do they have to have low taxes? No.
Hmm.
They can give back. I know it's a question of choice. They want to choose what they give back to, and it gets into that pulling that thread again. Is the government spending the money properly? All this and that. There's a, this is a very complex question, but the root of that is having true empathy and compassion for our fellow human beings. And that's the way architecture was rooted. I mean, look at architecture. We have to have equally as much education, arguably, as a lawyer or a doctor. We don't get paid nearly that much. And
Oh,
a
really?
lot are okay with that because we love what we do and we love giving back for the most part. I'm not saying that everybody's that way, but for the most part, we were very altruistic. I will say that honestly, with a lot of my colleagues, we care. We care about the environment. We want things to be beautiful and designed well, and that's why we got into this business. Not just because of the bottom line. Now there are some successful architects out there that are making millions, but again, that's maybe the 1% or the half a percent. Most of us are just doing our job because we have a passion for it and we love it.
Oh, see, that's interesting because see, everything that I know, like I'm not book smart, I'm like movie smart, you know? So like
Mm.
every movie has like the dead guy is the architect that used to work for the mob. Like they always say, well, who is this guy? And they go, "Oh, well, he's the guy that this he developed the plans for the tunnel and then, the aliens ate his brain." And you go, "Oh, okay, he's an architect then, right? We got to figure." But those guys were always wealthy in the movie, so I just presumed that an architect was a good gig to have. It was like a pretty big moneymaker. Was I wrong?
Well,
Was I
you,
mistaken?
you just said something there. They're always the person working for someone. They
Got
weren't
you.
the 1%. They weren't the decision maker. There's always a client. With an architect, there's always going to be a client.
And
And yeah,
no, I okay. So you jogged my. So does this go back to historically, like Pharaoh? now that you mention this, I never really thought about who designed the pyramid. I just figured, somebody told them to start taking the rocks and start moving them, and they moved them, and hence it was done. But I guess there had to be a person or a team of people who were the architects.
There's
I know this is stupid. People are right
no,
now going, Ace, I'm going to stop listening to this show because you stupid. I am
no.
stupid, people. I don't
You're
know these
not,
answers.
you're not Ace, and I can go down all kinds of different rabbit holes with you, which I don't know how far you want to go with that, but
Were these alien architects? Is that what we're getting to? Was that
I was
is that
I was
really what's happening?
I was getting, I'm touching that fringe area there, but I um I I personally truly believe that a lot of things that happened and a lot of the people that are here again doing something similar had a past life doing that. And the
Ooh, okay.
yeah, this is getting a little tantalizing.
Ooh, I like it.
Let's get spicy now, but
Yes, yes. Let's get
yeah,
saucy.
but I have had
Bring on the
literally,
sauce.
I'm at the sake of being a little too personal here. I've had past life regressions where I remember that.
Hmm.
And again, this is not going to be something we're going to delve deep in this little half-hour conversation, but yeah, I can go there. In fact,
Well, I no no seriously. On that note, I believe. Okay, all right. You ready? I
you ready?
believe we all have. Okay, they call it precognition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have what we feel is a deja vu. What is a
Mm-hmm.
deja vu if it's not something that you did do before? I don't believe when they tell you, "Oh no, you're just imagining it." Come on, you weren't here before. Of course, I must have been here before. Why would I think I was here before? I smell it. I feel it. It feels the exact same way. And you're about to say what you just said. Now, how
Mm-hmm.
is that a coincidence?
Not a coincidence at all because we probably knew each other in the past. Now, let's get a little bit more complicated, shall we?
We shall.
What if time was not linear? How is that? Now, if all time is all existent at the same time,
Hmm.
you get into quantum physics, which I've kind of like been super interested in. I'm no Einstein. I don't know everything, but I am open-minded about things like that. What if your deja vu, which in French means already seen,
Hmm.
what if that is currently happening, concurrently happening now, and you just happen to kind of tweak to the side a little bit, did a little bit side eye and saw something you weren't going to see in this lifetime, but you did.
Well, see, now I agree with that. And I have a belief. We're not challenging beliefs, by the way. I'm not. I'm not trying to
No,
one up. Oh, you believe in aliens? Well, I believe in mustard. So there you go. Right. So no, I'm not trying to one up you, but I will add this to contemplation, for example. And this was a fact that was brought up by a physicist who said in a documentary I was watching. He said, what if there was another planet that was created or came to be around the same time as planet Earth, but it was only 1,000 years ahead of us. So 1,000 years is not a lot, but 1,000 years in human spectrum is quite a lot. Imagine
Mhm,
what we'll be able to do 1,000 years from today, right?
mhm,
So in that 1,000 years, they could have managed to do so many more things that they're exactly parallel to Earth in every way, except 1,000 years ahead. Now, what if they were 1,000,000 years ahead? And again, in space time, 1,000,000 years is not so much, but a
mhm,
million years ahead of us. And yeah, they might be able to literally walk through time. They could travel from one galaxy to the next just using their minds. And I think in my conspiracy theory, and you don't have to agree with this because you'll get hate mail, but I don't mind the hate mail. And my conspiracy theory, the government has trained us not to believe that we can travel with our mind and that we can walk on water and that we can bend the time space continuum. Going to the moon, oh, yeah, we could go to the moon anytime we want. We just have to believe we can go. But they don't want us to know that because if we knew that, which is going to tie back into architecture, believe it or not, I'm going to make this be about architecture. If
Mm-hmm.
they told us that certain individuals, and here comes your architecture, were able to look at lines and say, these lines should be straight, these lines should be arches, these lines should be angle. Some of us are born with that innate ability, and those people are probably tuned to a higher power. They don't want us to know that about those people, just like they don't want us to know that certain people can look at your palm and decide right away how long you're going to live. Determine, not decide. Determine right away how long you're going to live, how many times you're going to fall in love, how many apples you're going to eat, etc.
Mm. So fascinating because there's a lot you packed into that one statement. First of all, I'll just be really, just as a funny aside, I have studied hand analysis. In fact,
Hmm.
one of the people that I read hands of was, you're in the movie business, Mel Gibson.
Oh my gosh, Mel
And
Gibson, my
and
boy.
his hands are amazing and revealing, and he was open to it. And that's what I loved about reading him, is because he said, "Yep, that's what I am. I'm a bell ringer," because that's what was in his hands. I said, "You've
Hmm.
been to hell and back, and you're here to tell the story." And he said, "Yep, I have."
Wow.
Yeah, it gets deep. Yeah, and actually, I sent that as part of my little package that you're putting together there. So it's in there as well. It's just a little brief, photo of him. But yeah, he's a deep, deep human being.
He truly is. And you know what's funny is I completely unrelated. I did see that you had a Mel Gibson thing in there, and we did not talk about it in advance. Please tell the people. Will you, Joyce, tell the people? Did we talk about Mel Gibson before or not?
We absolutely did. We didn't talk much about anything. So full disclosure, everyone. I've only known Ace for what, two. I went to your concerts twice. That was it.
Miller moments in the grand scheme
Well,
of time. Miller moments.
really, but you're super talented. Not, I was
Thank
very impressed because
you.
Ace just comes up with stuff. Where it comes out of, you know, we already talked about. We already think we know where it's coming from, but he is so spontaneous and so fast that it'll like blow your head like around like The Exorcist, because he comes up with stuff like, where did that come from? And it was dead on. So if you've not ever seen one of his shows, you've got to see his show. Super talented. He's got a talented band, and he's got a talented group of people that he collects from God only knows where, with voices and moves that will just shock you. And it's at a little tiny club with excellent sushi. So you've got to
Excellent
make
sushi. Yes.
excellent
If you
sushi.
get one takeaway, and by the way, folks, when someone's complimenting you, you be quiet. That's what you do. You don't have to say anything. You just be quiet until they run out. Just don't say nothing. Be like, I am that dope. You're right. No, I'm
But it's
absolutely
all
kidding.
true,
I'm
everyone. It's
absolutely kidding.
really, really true. And I don't give compliments easily. In fact, I'm quite critical and self-critical as well. So, I give it to myself as much as anybody else. It's very true. You've got to see one of his shows at least.
Well, I hope everybody in the world can make one, and definitely try the Max and Jazz does have great sushi. I've been to a few sushi places in my day. It's the best sushi. I'm be
Mm-hmm.
honest. I'm not biased. They do have the best sushi.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go, and time is never our friend on the show, I do want to ask you now, people probably heard this today and they feel like, you know what? She sounds like a good person. I want to work with her. How do we find you on social media? How do we follow you if we want to pleasantly stalk you now? You know how we do.
Okay, well, everyone, I was not born in this century. So as far as social media, I'm way, way behind. But I do have an Instagram. It's Seer Architect, Seer, an architect. And if you want to look there, I promise I'll be better at posting things because I'm pretty sad about it right now, but I will. And
She said
especially
she's pretty sad about it. Well,
it's
don't be
definitely,
sad about it, Joyce.
well, it is. It's sad
Sorry,
because
honey.
everybody else is like, what's your, DM this and that. And I'm like, oh,
Oh,
God, you're asking me.
oh.
I was not born in this century, but I'm getting better. I am.
You poor dear. Okay, well we we don't want you to be sad about the social media for sure. It'll
Well,
work out fine.
it's so competitive out there. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm way behind.
Aw. And do you have any advice to young people trying to get into your industry, or anything you want to leave us with as your legacy that you would like to leave?
Well, I would like everyone to follow their passion and keep your head up. World is weird right now. Yeah, it's going to get weirder because in my kind of belief system, we're going through a cycle and we're going through the roller coaster part of that cycle.
Mm.
And just expect the unexpected and keep on going. Keep loving yourself. Keep loving everybody else around you, even the people that don't love you so much. Just give them kindness. That's probably what they need. And love yourself more. There you go.
And you know what? I cannot close the show stronger than that. You guys heard what Joyce said. Live the life you love the life you live. This has been the Ace Michael Show, and thank you guys.